So, the Nation of Islam has offered to provide security for Beyonce during her Miami tour dates, where the pigs in Florida, or particularly Tampa and Miami, have basically said that they will not be working or they will be boycotting her performances because she dares to make a video for Black Lives Matter and also to talk about police brutality. So, see, this is what I'm talking about when we talk about bullies being on the defensive. You know, I've noticed like how I forced certain bullies and men who hate black women on YouTube to act like victims by blocking me, by doing all kinds of other weird things and having their little group therapy sessions on other people's channels and their comment sections. It's a wonderful thing when you see pro-rapists and you see bullies and predators wanting to be on the defensive. In other words, these guys are no different from the pigs. And when pigs don't like being exposed in such a major way for who they are, their deep nature, prepare for them to act like whiny little fuckfaces. I've seen the fruit of Islam. That's the guard corps of the Nation of Islam. I've seen these motherfuckers at work. See, back in my activist days, there was one particular action that we were going to do, that we did actually. And, you know, as always with big marches and protests, or at least in Houston, it would end at a rally. And at the rally, you know, you would have a group of speakers. Now, this particular protest was about a double murder by the Houston Police Department. They murdered a woman. 4 drunk off-duty police officers murdered an African-American woman as she was getting out of her car. And granted, she had a gun. This was Texas, after all. I've told this story before. And they shot her. They were drunk. They started chasing her. She had no idea who the fuck they were. They cornered her off of the street, I believe, and she got out of her car to confront who the hell's been tailgating her. And they basically pulled their guns and they got the drop on her and they killed her. African-American gentleman, security guard, just got off duty. He was stopped for traffic, whatever stop. It was a traffic stop. Cop stopped him. You know, I don't even know if there was actually a real argument. We would never know. It was between the two men. All we do know is that Byron Gillum was murdered still sitting in his car. And after a whole month of preparing, there were other protests in between, but you know, this is supposed to be the really big one. But during that time, we had a lot of talking about what was going to happen at the rally. And there's this fucker, and if you live in Houston and you happen to listen to this channel or watch this channel, please let me know if he's still there. There's this dude by the name of Dr. Motapa. Dr. Motapa promoted himself as his healer, whatever. But Dr. Motapa was really just a clown. And he always, and you know, every activist circle in every city, it's always this one dude or woman, it could be a woman too, who just needs to bring the spectacle out of, you know, anywhere you go, anything you try to do, this person is there as if they can't be anywhere else. And it was widely rumored that Dr. Motapa could have been indeed a cop. Not a active duty cop, but just somebody who just did shit for the police to fuck us up or fuck with us. But there's no proof for that, so you can't really come out and say something like that about someone. Either way, Dr. Motapa wanted to speak at the rally. Already we were saying the schedule's tight. We have our set speakers. No, Motapa, not going to happen. He still argued for that. We said no and no and no and no. Finally, on the day of the rally, and you know a protest is big and important when the Nation of Islam shows up. And they did. They came. It was one of the biggest actions. I was actually working as a marshal for that one. Security, in other words, myself. And at the podium, between speakers, I believe Ada Edwards had just finished speaking, who is now, I don't know if she's a city councilman. Now, she was a city councilwoman in the later years. But this situation happened around 89, 90. Anyway, After she finished speaking, Dr. Motapa grabs the microphone and wants to start his bullshit Rastafarian, Rastaman singing bullshit. And the Nation of Islam, it was only 3 dudes, by the way. It was only 3 of the security guys. Lifted this 120, 150-pound man over their heads. Within seconds, they whisked him away from the podium. And they had to come down some stairs to do this. They ran him, still holding him over their heads and down the stairs. It was just crazy to even see it. It was fast. Unfortunately, of course, the cameras saw this incident and they could not wait to report that after what happened after, such a huge mobilization, one of the biggest mobilizations in Houston around the murders of 2 innocent people by pigs. Anyway, I just wanted to, that the whole thing about the Nation of Islam offering to provide security for Beyonce at her performances in Miami just brought me back to that old memory. Now, I just want to be clear that historically, ideologically, and politically, I have never agreed with the Nation of Islam. But it is not an easy explanation or conversation to have. And I was very clear in my episode, part 1 of The Personal is the Political, where I lay out historically the importance of the Nation of Islam in the Black community in terms of their contributions and the fact that the services that they still have today can be embraced by those who seek help, i.e. getting off of drugs, hopefully being able to get out of a gang if they need to, if a young person wants to do that. At least they've always been some form of alternative. So I just want to throw that out there. Well, all right. I don't have anything else important to talk about. I know that over the weekend I was supposed to have the Who Are the Pro-Blacks episode up, but sorry, life happened. I am working on it. They will be up, I promise you. This is the Garage Autonomist.